Welcome back. This is part 2 of the Ecology Tools video series. And here we're going to be looking at the soil and trying to characterize the soil as best we can to get an idea of what the abiotic factors in the soil component of this ecosystem might be. Now, if we were geologists, we might be looking at the different layers of the soil and how deep those layers are, and looking at some of the rocks and minerals in that soil and how big are the grain sizes and all that. As biologists, we maybe aren't quite as interested in that. We might be more interested in factors that would affect the organisms that are living here. So things like pH and moisture and temperature, and then also nutrient availability would be really interesting to us as well. So we're going to start by measuring the pH and moisture and temperature of the soil here. And to do this, we actually have some tools in our ecology equipment that will help us do this. We have kind of an all-in-one tester, or not quite all-in-one. This is a combination pH and moisture tester. And you notice that there are two metal pieces here, and these are dissimilar metals. So based on how they interact, it's basically going to make a battery. So this is actually not battery powered at all. And that is going to be how it determines the pH and the moisture levels in the soil. We need to prepare this for use by cleaning off these metal plates, and there's these special sheets that I think are just a very fine abrasive, and you basically just polish up the metal pieces. To make sure there's no corrosion or anything like that. And then you can wipe off any dust or anything. And now this is ready to go into the ground. Then the other tool that we're going to use is that soil thermometer that we had earlier. So we're going to put this into the ground, and this might be a little tricky to get it into the ground. We'll see if we can do that. And it's not, maybe it's going to go in all the way. If it doesn't go in all the way, you could use a trowel to kind of make some room for this. So we're just going to let that sit for about 3 minutes. I'm going to set a timer on that. And then while that's going, I'm going to use the soil thermometer, and I'll just stick that in right next to it and let that equilibrate for 3 minutes. So you don't need to watch this while this is happening. So I will pause the video and resume when it's ready. Okay, it looks like it's been about 3 minutes here. And so now we're ready to record the data. And again, you want to have some place to record that on. And we're going to start with the soil temperature, which looks like it is about 13 degrees Celsius. Take that out if you want to read that. And then for the pH is going to be reading automatically with this in the ground. And it looks like the pH here is pH 5. So to get the soil moisture, there's a button on this soil tester device that you can maybe see right down there. And you just press and hold the button, and the scale changes. And here it's saying it's over 100% soil moisture. So this is really damp soil. It's saturated with water. So we're going to say 100% plus. So that's how we use this equipment. And then the one thing that we want to do before we put it away is to clean it off. before we put it back. And same with the thermometer. And then the other thing is we want to leave nature the way we found it, so we could fill the hole back in. The other thing that we might do here is if we wanted to take some soil back to the lab for analysis, we could use a trowel and collect some in a bag, and making sure to label that with where we collected it from and the day and time and all that. The other tool that we might use, and again this would be if we wanted a more sophisticated analysis, would be to use one of these soil corers, where you could core into the soil and take out a whole slice of it, where we could maybe start to look at some of those individual layers. I'm not going to do that here because I don't have a lab to take this back to, but that is some ways that we could further characterize the soil. And then back in the lab we could maybe do more sophisticated tests for pH, and we could test for nutrient availability, specifically nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are kind of the big three for soil nutrients that plants might need to grow. All right, so that wraps up this video, and we'll have a few more coming up.